Just take one hit. Don't you want to be cool?
Gather round everyone. The show's about to begin.
Turn on, tune in, drop out, this show's amazing. It's Super Lemon Haze, you know them boys always blazing. Put one in the air, fill your glass and get to raising. Kirkman praising, school flag waving. Chopping up the topics as they're choking on some chronic. Scott and Eric breaking it down like 21st century prophets. Eyes glazed and minds dazed, it's knowledge they convey. Roll up and consume the Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze.
Going to ask you several questions.
Super Lemon Haze.
How do you feel? I feel like a slice of butter melting on top of a big old pile of flapjacks. Yeah.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone, to another episode of Super Lemon Haze. What's happening right now is, so I have successfully met with a medical marijuana physician and have been awarded my certificate. So, bravo! That's one of the first things that we talked about when we started this pod, was to make that happen. So, I am going to cut down that audio, and I'll post about 10 minutes of that conversation. It's very informative. It might be a little dry because obviously it's a medical person talking to me. I think that it's valuable to a lot of the consumers out there who are looking to get into getting their medical marijuana card. I think a lot of the news as of late is really disheartening to a lot of people who have been going to the medical dispensaries for recreational use because they're no longer accepting them during this coronavirus thing. So I've been tweeting out a firestorm. I'm not sure, Scott, if you're reading any of those,
yeah. And we've also had quite a few articles bumping around, and the community, the cannabis community, of course, is pushing for Beacon Hill and pushing for local and state legislature to bend on this, of course. So
exactly. And I put a poll out there too, and I think the results will be up tonight. But my poll was, I really, and again, it's the new Eric, man, because talk to me 6 months ago and I wouldn't have been on board with this, but all of the package stores are considered essential, right? So we've got the beer, the liquor, the wine, all that shit's wide open. You go down the street and the fucking streets are closed. But what you will find open are like the fucking liquor stores and the CVS's. That's pretty much your two options, or the grocery stores, obviously. But like, if you want to get out of the fucking house, you want to go somewhere, you either get drunk or you get meds. I mean, those are pretty, or you can get food. So
you can go to the grocery store, still get your toilet paper if you can find any, but that's about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can't find any, man. Your fucking shit tickets. Is that what they're calling them?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the most compelling argument. Obviously, you and I are now in a position. I've always been in this position of having the medical card and taking it a little bit further from that. But if you can go, if we've deemed this thing, this substance, this product to be legal in the state, and
which it has, which passed in Massachusetts,
right. It's totally. I mean, years ago now. At this point, we're looking at four and a half years ago. At this point. If we're saying this stuff is legal, and we're saying that alcohol is also legal, and you can purchase that, and that is an essential item or whatever, I'm kind of confused as to why. Again, not as butthurt as some other folks would be about it, because of course, you and I are in a better position. But it does make when you put up the fact that the liquor stores are open, it does give a good compelling argument for me as to why would they be closed or not deemed essential as well.
Yeah, I was trying to think a lot about this, because all the articles I've read had pretty much make the same point that we're making, making that comparison, and it's legal, so obviously we're talking pretty much the same substances across the board, right? I'm almost wondering if it has anything to do with the fact that we have a Republican governor, but because I know that even though his sort of like his nickname is like Tall Duval. He's not a true Republican. He's not extremely conservative across the board, but he does sometimes make silly decisions like this, where I feel like I wonder if this is like just one of his like his last beliefs or something about like this whole medical marijuana thing. Maybe he wasn't on board. because I don't think he wasn't our governor, right? He was Deval Patrick was our governor, right? When it legalized, when marijuana. I mean, if we're talking 4 years ago, it was before
It was like
he was
right
in
at
office.
yeah. So it was the 16 elections. I guess I'd have to double check. I think Patrick was still.
Yeah.
I think Patrick. No, I think Patrick was out in 12. To be honest, I think we're losing our.
I
date.
know, man.
Hold on.
That's right, because this is because Governor Baker just won re-election.
He just got reelected. So this is all
Right.
coming under. I mean, again, and here's the thing. I mean, the point you made, I think, is important. Is that so? Like an example, there's not a lot of consistency, I guess, is the best thing to say about
Yeah.
this, because it's still tough to put a finger on it, because Baker, he had the state heavily involved with the whole vape situation that was happening with
Right. Right.
Whereas
All the flavor vapes and just getting all these shops shut down and went out of business because he
and he had
put that moratorium on it.
Yeah, and aside from your politics or any beliefs, it's I think it's easy to say that he took a very hard stance, government involvement approach, democratic type approach to that, whereas he was like, no, we're going to protect people. We think there's a problem here, and we're going to hold off on vapes and investigate here for a bit. So he's kind of gone back and forth on being, what's the hands off, laissez-faire, so to speak, right? And then he's also gotten involved, so it's a little inconsistent.
That's interesting. That's a really good point. I completely forgot about that, and that's actually recent history. Again, like this new time that we're in now is sort of erased a lot of those current events that happened this past year. But I remember that was a major thing.
Yeah, it makes you forget about a lot of the drama that was going on. It makes it pretty inconsequential now after everything we're going through, right?
Right. And I actually, but it's funny that you say that, because I actually do wonder if that is part of his argument, because I mean, even though I know they were deeming not so much the vaping activity to be detrimental to people's health, I think it was the actual flavors that was causing some irritation or some.
Yeah, it was additives. They were
function disruption.
They were concerned about companies putting unsavory additions or cutting it, so to speak. Like, basically add your, just like you were going to cut cocaine or something, right, with a laxative or something, to make it more product. They're cutting in. They were cutting in vitamin.
I love laxative cocaine, man.
You know how it rolls. You know how it rolls. You watch your Narcos, haven't you? Come on now. They
I
were
watched The Wire once or twice.
They were adding in vitamin E and basically putting in additives to make it look like it was more substance than it was. Claiming it was harmless, and there was an argument going around that it potentially could have been harmful or irritating to some people, things like that. So
but he really, the governor hasn't given any true explanation as to why he is choosing to leave the package stores open and closing the recreational option for people to buy marijuana. So
sorry to interrupt. I don't know if he has I don't know if he has any kind of inside information or if he's seeing what happens on those lines, but I can tell you that it would be a challenge. And again, I don't want to speak for the dispensaries. I'm sure they would rise to the occasion, but it would be a challenge to get the social distancing, sort out those lines, get those folks in a safe manner. And I think Baker always is going to err on the side of caution and safety as a high level.
But I agree with you. If you kept it exactly the same way as it was being run before with the long lines, but similar to what's happening with the medical piece is that, and I'm doing this obviously in the next hour, but you have to make an appointment, and they're only letting in one person at a time. So I'm wondering if they could at least open up the option like that for the recreational use. You just have to sign up. You just have to make an appointment. Where you can't stand in lines, and you police that by just shutting down the lines, getting rid of the lines themselves, and you fucking wait in your car or you wait down the block, and then once your fucking time is up, your time is good, you just walk into the door and you're in. So I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to implement that.
The true Republican way would be let them do what they want, let them break the law, and then fine them for it and nail them for having those lines. But
no, man,
whatever.
We'll talk about the fucking fines and shit, but no one's arresting anyone for anything these days, man. We could fucking go and take whatever we want. So,
hello.
Hi, is this Eric?
This is he.
Eric, hi. This is calling.
Hi.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're all just trying to figure it out.
Strange times.
Very strange times. I know. This is freaking Looney Tunes.
I know. Tell me about it. Which is probably part of the motivation of why I'm calling, or made an appointment.
Right.
Possible that I could just record this phone call?
Absolutely it is. So, Yeah, so you definitely have, a couple of qualifying conditions.
Yep.
And so that's not an issue.
Great.
I'm just gonna do some of the paperwork. I'm just gonna use anxiety because it was the first one, and we don't need to list all of them.
Okay.
And it seems like the country's running a special on that.
Called my PCP, and no one's having appointments anymore, but I left him a message, and we had a really good rapport when I met him for the first time about a month and a half ago. And I actually brought this up to him when we were discussing, because I've been taking citalopram or Celexa for, I don't even know, like 6 or 7 years now, and I have made every single attempt to come off of some of these medications, because I was prescribed some benzos also that I was successfully able to come off, but I have not been able to reduce the amount of Celexa. He basically just sort of shut the door. So then I was like, all right, now what do I do?
And it is a little daunting, and I mean, I think it takes a lot of people a while to pull the trigger to do this.
I mean, and to be completely honest, like I have been like a straight edge hardcore dude for like my entire life, and I also lean relatively conservative. I'm a researcher. I've also been a practitioner. So like, and I'm an MPH myself. So I saw that you have those initials after your name. So
yeah.
So, but I've always said, in the medical field, it makes sense. Even though I know that we haven't been able to widely study the actual effects, I wasn't informed enough to make an opinion about it. And I was just going off of like, I guess, my own personal opinion versus like really more of an educational standpoint. And I've been going through those steps in the last couple of months. I have borrowed a friend's pen, and I have had a lot of success with it. And when I say success, I mean, it's just allowed me to feel differently and in a more positive way.
But I really appreciate everything you shared with me, and I do think that I think it's complicated. I think it's a paradigm shift we're trying to figure out with cannabis. Because of all of the negative stuff, and it's certainly not a magic bullet, and it's not right for everybody, and it's not right for it doesn't help everybody with everything. I think it's really important to keep that skeptical mind around cannabis. And so a lot of people making false claims, and there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation.
I guess the other reason why I've had sort of a negative opinion about the matter is primarily because I've had such negative experiences with smoking. I guess they call it like flower. I'm just sort of learning the lingo now.
Experience. Yeah. Well,
so
we all are. Nobody's been doing this. Anybody who's like, "Oh, I'm an expert," I'm like, "No, you're not."
Right.
And so there's 2 steps to every certification, or to getting a card, and one of them is the medical certification, which is what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And you are now certified, and from today through March 30th, 2021.
Okay.
And then, but there's another step of registering with the state.
Okay.
And there used to be a fee, but that was just removed.
Oh, great.
And that works anywhere in the Commonwealth and in Rhode Island, actually. And once you get your card, like I said, it works in all of those other states as well.
Oh, perfect. I didn't know that. So you can use it in other states. I thought it was only in Massachusetts.
So the card, when you get the card, you can use it at any medical dispensary in Rhode Island, in Maine, Washington, D.C., Nevada, Hawaii, and as of July 1st, New Mexico.
Okay, great. Not like I'm visiting any of these places anytime soon, but
right,
it's
exactly,
good to know.
Exactly. You're going to need your driver's license and your card. Everybody in Massachusetts is allowed to have a caregiver, which is just somebody else who can shop for, for you or with you, and the state doesn't charge anything for that.
And then so all the registration form is all done electronically now, or does some of this stuff have to be mailed in or to
No, it's all done electronically. What they need you to do is upload your driver's license, and then you're also going to upload some proof of residency, just like a utility bill or something like that.
Okay.
And then you'll get your hard card in the mail.
Okay. So what's the difference? I'm hearing 2 different things. So there's registration and there's certification. So what's the difference between the 2?
So certification is the medical certification.
Yeah.
This now, and registration is the electronic stuff you do with the state,
Okay.
uploading a driver's license
Yeah.
and getting a card. And both last 1 year.
Gotcha. So do you think that it makes sense to just ask all my product question to the dispensaries themselves then? Is that?
Oh, no.
No.
Ask me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with the dispensaries is that some people are really knowledgeable. And some people, so there are no requirements currently in the
Gotcha.
state
Right.
for
To work.
We're about to change that. There's going to be a minimum of 4-hour training for anybody who works in a dispensary, just so we know that everybody's speaking the same language.
The last time that I had a bad experience probably was like 2.5, 3 years ago, and I didn't feel right for like 2 days, and so
Is it anxiety? Is when you say like that it's a bad experience for you? Is it because it's anxiety?
yeah, it somehow it triggers. It's not a paranoia. It's just like it's a heart racing.
Hypervigilance.
Yes, it's just not comfortable. That's the only way that I can explain it. It's just, it's like very.
So I think I know what's going on with that. You need more CBD with your THC. CBD and THC are just two of the ingredients.
Yeah.
And they both work much, much better with each other. So CBD works better with THC, and THC works better with CBD. I pretty much don't use THC alone really ever. And definitely, we've definitely found that for people who do get that sort of hypervigilance, heart racing stuff, that when they use, especially if you use a product, either flower, vape, whatever, that is 1-to-1, meaning 50% CBD, 50% THC, it'll work a lot better.
Yeah. The product that I was given is this product called Super Lemon Haze. Are you familiar with that?
I am. I know it's sativa dominant, and I know that I don't think it has a lot of CBD, but that's okay if that's working for you. But in terms of edibles, I would never recommend you use an edible that is not a 1-to-1. Everybody is really different, which is why I really do welcome people, like especially when you start buying in a dispensary, to really limit yourself, or whatever they send you home with, whatever you try, to blind yourself. Just because, with the indica, the sativa, that sort of thing, I've really found that it's not the same. But then really what it's broken down to is the cannabinoids and the terpenes. And the cannabinoids are the THC, the CBD, the CBN, the CBG. And it's really about the ratio of those. Like, is it 1-to-1? Is it 4 parts THC to 1 part CBD? Is it 2 parts CBD to 1 part THC? But then also the terpenes, which are the flavor and smell profile or whatever, essentially. That's what affects people. That's what makes it either something that's sedating or something that's uplifting. The actual THC and CBD and stuff like that don't affect that piece of it. So what I'm sending you right now are just 2 sites that I trust. In terms of trying to figure out what, those are just sites that I trust for references. The internet, there's really a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
There is Leafly.
Yeah, that's actually the only website that I knew about.
Yeah. And I don't love it. So that's why I'm a little hesitant.
Is it biased because it's paid for by sponsors, or what's your thought?
My issues with Leafly are, I think so. They're profit driven.
Yeah.
And so I'm always skeptical of that. So the one thing that I do find helpful about Leafly is that they do have a little. I'll see if I can actually find the tutorial. I don't know if it's still available, but you can go on it and look at a certain strain, and it'll show you kind of the shape. If it's diamonds, it's high THC. If it's circles, it's high CBD. But then they'll also start to show you what are the terpenes that are what are the terpenes that are most useful in that.
When I make my first appointment to go to the dispensary and I find something that I like, I'll just text you or send you a picture of what I got.
That would be awesome.
And we
Yeah,
can go-
just reach out to me. I'm available to you, like for for the year.
All right, so I only got about, I don't know, let's try to keep this conversation somewhat short. I got about 15, 20 minutes to go through this, but just to give everyone the update, in about 45 minutes, I have my first appointment to go into a medical marijuana dispensary. Super nervous. I told Scott that this is my first time ever walking into a dispensary ever. Never purchased from a dispensary recreationally or obviously medically.
And this is where I would come into play, because I would hold your hand and make you feel all nice and comfy inside, and make sure get all those nervous Nellies out of you.
Well, again,
also keep
why
you
don't you throw up the menu, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to throw up the menu. We're going to talk through it.
Yeah.
I was looking through it earlier.
I'm also going to keep you from getting thrown the fuck out of there, because you're not taking any pictures.
Oh, you're not allowed to?
No.
Really? Even if it's just me? I'm going to ask, though, either way.
I mean, you can absolutely ask and be your typical obnoxious self. I love you for that.
Yeah, I might. Maybe I'll just make a fucking sign and I'll just stand outside there.
There you go. Yeah, that'll get the mincels excited. There you go.
Yeah, so load up the fucking menu, and I'm gonna say that I already got overwhelmed. Like, I don't know. I think we only have 15 minutes once you're inside. So I guess what I'm trying to avoid is just going to the front and just saying this is what I'm looking for. And the one thing that I'm looking for right now is super lemon haze, man, because I have no idea if that's something that I'm gonna want because of what we're going through now, or if it's just because that's what I'm used to, and I'm not courageous to ask too many questions. But like, I don't know. So I feel like this is what we should do, is just kind of just click through the menu, and we can talk about anything. Ask me. So right now, what I wanted to do is just kind of go through those steps as if I was your client and you were working with me as my consultant. So let's just kind of go through this, and you just ask me the questions you would ask, and hopefully we'll just come up with some options.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, first off, what's going to happen is you're going to get ID'd. So you're going to have to show that, you're going to have to show your paperwork that says you've been approved.
Yeah.
And
so just curious, I actually have it on my phone, and I don't have a printer anymore because I'm not at work. So that's cool, right? I could just show them it's on my phone.
I think so. I wouldn't imagine.
It's a PDF. So, and then it obviously matches up to my ID. I mean, that's what I only have.
Yeah.
I have no way of printing it out. So
you're gonna buzz in and you're gonna hold your ID up like this to the door. They're gonna see you through the security. They're gonna see your ID through the security camera. They're gonna let you into a holding area, like a vestibule, so to speak. Where
you have to show your medical license, or do you have to show your driver's license?
They're gonna ask for state ID, and they're gonna ask for the proof of your processing.
Okay,
what you just did with the doctor and all that. Once you get through all that, then they'll bring you through, they'll process you, get you all signed in. Then they're going to bring you into another room where the registers are. Now, obviously, with COVID-19 concerns, Sierra is doing it's Sierra Naturals is the name of the place. They are doing a wonderful job of social distancing and keeping people separate. So you'll probably be like the only person in there. Maybe there might be one other person finishing an appointment, but they've been spacing out and going one by one quite a bit. So you'll walk up, you'll then get ID'd again, a second time. They're going to ask you for your IDs. You're going to stand there and continue to be processed again as you're standing at the cash register to pay almost. Once you're processed and through, then they'll kind of push the menu over to you, say, okay, what are you interested in? What do you got going on? What can I do for you, so to speak? At that point, you have about 15 minutes now as kind of a consultation to start asking questions about products. They can give you recommendations about different effects, different things like that. If you were completely lost and new and didn't know what you were doing, they'd probably start with some of the basics, like, do you smoke flower? Have you ever smoked any of these vapes? Have you ever, tried one of these vape cartridges? Or are you more of a, you want to smoke a joint? Like what kind of experiences have you had? If you're kind of new to this thing, they're probably not gonna, hold on, I'll go scroll over to this menu.
I apologize if you see me looking down, but I'm going through the same thing on my iPad.
Yeah, keep looking. So you're going to kind of go through the beginning of the menu is a lot of different flower, different strains, and different kind of flavors, so to speak, of different actual flower. Like this is real marijuana that you would smoke. They call it flower now because there's so many different kinds of products. This TAC on the side is the strength of it. And then, of course, stock level is they're just trying to tell you if they're out or how much they have of it for the future. Sierra is as more of a co-op these days, so they don't have their own. They have their own products, but then they also have some other people that they've partnered with. So Jimmy's Choice is some grower, that they work with also. And then they just have different prices and categories, but this is basically all flour as we're scrolling through. On the side here, these letters on the side here, this is indicating where they fall on the spectrum. So a sativa that would be kind of more of a energetic, uppity type of high versus an indica all the way at the other end of the spectrum. An indica would be something that's probably gonna relax you, put you to sleep, kind of get you into a couch lock type situation or something like that.
So I just want to give you some of the education that I learned yesterday from the person. I just want to add this into our equation. Was I was talking to her about some of the negative experiences I've had with smoking weed, and her and I, you might disagree with this, and I think this is sort of the issue with this whole process, is that there's not a lot of there's still so much research to be done on how different strains and different whatever it's like terpenes and all these different things affect different people. But the individual is also going to have a different reaction every single time, even though you might be able to somehow group them. But she was giving me this ratio between like the CBD and the THC, and she said that something that she would suggest for someone like me who had that reaction was to find something that had a closer, like 1-to-1 ratio, meaning that if there was, just a more even balance than like this really high THC versus a very low CBD ratio product. So do you agree with that, or what?
Yeah, no, that's a solid recommendation. Essentially what she's saying is you're going to do like a 1-to-1 is basically like a halfie. It's a halfie. So for all you fancy boys out there, someone who might like a half calf, perhaps, when you get a little half calf action, I got some friends, I fuck with some friends every once in a while. They like to get their half calf because they can't handle too much caffeine or something like that, So yeah, I would say something like 4 lights. This is going to be like a 1-to-1 strain. So if you notice, the THC is a little bit lower, but you can see it's actually it's 15% THC, or sorry, 15% CBD, 1% THC. So it's got kind of a different mix here as opposed to the straight cannabinoids that would get you feeling euphoric or feeling high. Then you
so let me just again, this is just part of the question I'm going to ask, but like, so it looked like, because I did look up Super Lemon Haze.
Yes.
And it looks like it's a very high THC product, but I haven't had any of those negative side effects that I had when I was, smoking like bad weed or like the flower or whatever. So why do you think that if that was her, that's why I didn't really understand. So if that was her explanation, but then when I looked up Super Lemon Haze, it looked like the ratio was much different than what she was recommending. Why do you think that was the case? Why do you think I wasn't having the same sort of reaction? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, because Super Lemon Haze is listed as a sativa. See how it says S next to this over here? Even as a flower, or if you go down if you go down to the vape section and look at Super Lemon Haze, we'll go down a little bit here. It's also in the vape section.
Super Lemon Haze, motherfucker.
So you can buy. So right now at Sierra, you can buy Super Lemon Haze in the form of 2 different kinds of cartridges that they're making. And then you can also buy it in the form of flower. So essentially, the Super Lemon Haze harvest is in. They have a ton of Super Lemon Haze plants and buds that they've harvested, and now they're extracting those cannabinoids out and making vapes, and then they're also selling the flower. The reason why you are reacting well to the Super Lemon Haze is because it's more of a sativa-driven plant, right? So again, we don't know this all for sure. We're still in test phase with you and kind of working stuff out with you because you're a newer smoker with this stuff. But the theory that I'm coming up with right now is that sativas are your bag, brother. Like, that's just it. Sativas are what work for you. You're more of a heady, mentally stimulated type guy for sativas versus, running your body into the ground and shutting everything down, as opposed to getting more spun up in your thoughts and your mind about sativas. So that's kind of the idea there.
So that's obviously the first thing that I'm going to talk about when I go there, right? So just say that I've had some really positive experiences with sativas.
Yep.
And again, the other thing too that I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are, but I mean, obviously, I enjoy and I like the process of using the vape pen. I'm actually excited to get my own battery for once, so I'm gonna. So do you buy those there, by the way, or do I have to get one online?
You can get a pen. You can get a pen there. Yeah, one of those little silver ones. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but does it look fancy like the one that I want? I want a fucking fancy one,
man. It's gonna be a basic bitch pen, but you're gonna be okay. You'll be fine with that. We'll find you something high tech later on down the line. This is just
my birthday's on Saturday, so that's on you.
Oh,
how about that,
sweetheart? Yeah, can't wait. There we go. Awesome. But yeah, you can get a cheap pen that'll be serviceable, or a battery that'll be serviceable, and then probably again, I think your move would be the Super Lemon Haze. Maybe a little bit, if you wanted to go a little bit more of a body buzz, I'd go one tick down on the spectrum and look at that Tangy right underneath it right here. It's called Tangy. That's another good one. Let's see if they have it in.
So I'm gonna. So it looks like you're on the desktop version. So I'm actually on my iPad. So it's a little bit different than what you're seeing. Mine's a little bit more user friendly. It looks like because there's a lot of more pictures and shit on it.
Oh yeah, you're looking at the general. You're probably looking at the general menu. Like for all, they have 3 locations, so they'll try to kind of pump up and have a nice fancy menu for everything, but. You're going to be going to one specific store, so I'm looking at that specific store's.
I thought I selected that. Yeah,
it should say
whatever
the menu on the top. But either way, like I was saying, if for you, you're going to say something to the effect of that. On your throat, you like the vapes a little bit better because they're a little easier on your throat. You're not a regular smoker anyway, so. I think what the other piece that you'll be talking about or that you should suggest to them is that, you're not really a hardcore flower smoker, that you've had good experiences with vapes that lean towards sativa. And I think that's kind of where it'll go from there for you.
And then should I even try to get like an edible or something like that? Or should I just not stay far away from that shit?
Yeah, I mean, we can try out. Let's see what we got for edibles today.
Like it looks like there's something called highly edible sweet fruit pucks.
Yeah.
Sweet sativa.
Yeah, they taste like those orange slices, like the gummies almost. Like they're good.
And so I guess the question is then, like, is it the same concentrate as what's the if I take like a big hit from a pen, what does that equal in terms of like a gummy?
So
is there any correlation between how much you smoke and how much eating a gummy?
No, eating edibles is a completely different. The way your body processes the edibles and the way that you react to the edibles is completely different than smoking it.
Right.
It's essentially almost more of a trip. The way your liver, the chemicals and the shit that's released from as it processes through your liver, basically gives a completely different effect. So I'm not opposed to you trying out some edibles, but we're going to go very small amount, very bit by bit, so to speak.
So you're talking about like taking an edible and like cutting it into like quarters?
For you, I think, let's see. So these, I'd get one of the sativas, 23 T. I'd look at like one of these fruit pucks right here, maybe. And then I would eat one puck. I would cut one puck in half for you to start and eat one and eat a half of one and then see how that goes. You'll probably wind up eating the whole one, but no more. Like you would not eat this whole pack. You'll get like 10 in total. Like, that's going to take you fucking weeks to get through, pal.
So, and the other thing that I've been experimenting with this, and the way that I've been running it is that because you and I usually record at like 8 o'clock at night. Right. So I've been trying to stay consistent with like a time. And so I either have been using the pen that you've let me borrow or Jenny's.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it like at the same time every night. So around 7, 8 o'clock is when I would just take a hit and then that would be it. Okay. Just to kind of do it every single day to like either build my tolerance and also to give it enough time to see if there is an effect, which I actually am starting to feel something that I related yesterday to the person that I was talking to on the phone. That has been very positive. So with the edible, would I do it at the same time? Would I just eat the edible at the same time or no?
No, we need much more time. I wouldn't want you eating an edible and then trying to go to sleep. That's like nightmare fuel, brother. We never know what the hell could happen. You could wind up laying, tossing and turning all night and having your mind wandering and going crazy. Again, I don't know that would happen. I don't mean to no alarmist shit, but
no, I know.
You never know. It's a risk. An edible is a great one for like, we know the kids aren't coming home. We've already mowed the lawn and taken care of the chores. It's 2 o'clock on a Sunday, and we've got till 6 or 7 o'clock to kind of fuck around and see what happens, so to speak. That's your edible time.
All right. So I'm gonna get them just to have, just to have it
until we get comfortable. Hey, listen,
but I won't try it until I won't do it because I definitely do want to do it, like you said, in a way that seems safe for me. Again, being as sensitive as I have been in the past to this stuff, so I'll just stick with the vape.
And then
should I just get the Super Lemon Haze just because that's like what I've been using? Or
I would recommend the Super Lemon Haze, or like I said, something maybe if you want a little bit of a different effect. What
did you call it? What did you say it was?
Yeah, there's a couple on here. So
Tangy or something you said?
Well, it was flower. So I would go. Yeah,
I'm not going to do the flower.
You could do this. This is like a single serve Super Lemon Haze. This battery is already built into this one. You just pull on it. You don't even have to hit a button or anything. Or buy this one. This is a little bit more milliliters. It has more content to it.
Which one? Just give me what it's called. Which one is that one?
So that's the cannabis derived terp cartridge.
That's the one that you get, right?
That's the one that we always smoke. Yep.
Yeah, and then the other one I look at is the PAX Era Pods. What's a pod?
Yeah, don't mess with that. It's just another form of delivery for smoking. Don't worry about that. It's too complicated.
So don't get that.
Yeah, it's too complicated for you right now.
All right. So it looks like then if we're talking about just vape and sativa, it looks like Super Lemon Haze is the only thing they have.
Well, I think you would be totally fine with any of these 4.
Okay. Could you just text those to me?
Absolutely.
Like just on my way there. So just tell me what they are right now so I can look them up real fast. So what do you have there?
Super Lemon Haze, obviously.
Yeah.
The next one is a sativa dominant. So it's a tick less of sativa. It's a little less on the sativa spectrum. It's 1 tick back on the spectrum.
Yeah.
It's called Jack Herer.
Yeah.
San Fernando Valley OG is the next one.
Yeah.
And then there's another one called Trainwreck. Those 3 are all very similar on the scale. So at that point, if you like Super Lemon Haze and you're willing to buy 2, I would say take your Super Lemon Haze and then pick one of those other 3 that you find interesting and see. And of course, your rep at the dispensary, your what do you call it? Your caretaker there at the dispensary will also, can give you some maybe personal experience or information about those 3 strains as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna go there in like 5-10 minutes.
You want to talk about edibles real quick?
Yeah. Well, do you have any more information than we just talked about? More than what
I would just say, just to summarize, my thought on the edibles would be, if you like the gummy bear type setup or something like that, you're not a big chocolate guy or gal, then I would say, so for you, I would go with these. I'd actually probably do this. This is a little bit easier. 5 milligrams is great for you to start with. So you could get, this will come in 20, and then you don't have to cut it up. You can just eat 1 and see how 5 milligrams.
Okay.
With these, see how
and then which
milligrams.
Which one's that called? What's that called?
So that one's called Kanji Fruit Bites.
And then is that also a sativa dominant one you said?
It's a little bit different when it comes to the edibles. Not quite as kind of worked out on the spectrum, so to speak.
Gotcha.
These are like low dose candies that you can kind of regulate. It's like eating little gummy bears, basically.
Yeah.
So if we were going to try,
my biggest anxiety is I just don't want to have a similar effect that I had, historically. So
here's a sativa. There are some sativas as well. So when you go in, you could talk to them about that and say, it looks like this one's a little mixed. Like I would just say, I'm interested in some of the fruit bites, but I want to stay on the sativa side of things.
Okay. All right, man, I'm psyched. So I'm going to get going so I don't get late. And I'm going to try to fucking record this in some way or fashion. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna fucking roll. I'm gonna hang this up. Thank you for your help. Text me that information.
I wish I could be there with you. Fucking COVID.
I know.
It's annoying, but at least we get to play around with our equipment and test out some stuff and get some content,
some shit in the field,
content out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right, man. Good luck out there.
Speak to you, man. Okay, thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you. Bye. Hey guys, I just wanted to thank everyone for making it through that one. I know it was a little bit different than what we've ever done before. It was really one of our goals when we put this whole podcast together for myself to get that medical certification. And, especially since we're going through this difficult time right now and all the dispensaries are closed for recreational use, it was perfect timing. So it really wasn't that difficult to go through this process. So anyone out there listening to this podcast who's interested, just DM me and I could give you all the information about the people that I met with. The woman who I spoke with who got me medically certified is open and willing to share her contact information. I just didn't want to post it publicly, but if you guys are interested in meeting with her, it's all telemedicine based. So she could just do it through Zoom or Skype or whatever and set you right up. And you're automatically certified. All she has to do is go through the evaluation and then make sure you have some of those qualifying events. For those of you who want to look it up on your own, you can go to www.mass.gov/medical marijuana, and it'll give you all the information that you'll need to look into the program. So peace. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
What is this?
Is it over?
We're running out of time.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
No, it's not fair.
Where'd all the files go?